Last week we started a series called Movement, and we said that a movement is a group of people working together towards a common goal. The movement we're a part of here at church, it's one that follows Jesus and wants to show others his love. I think it's one that has the potential to change the entire world. Maybe you've heard someone say that you can change the world. And if you haven't, let me be the first to tell you that I believe it's true. This room full of middle schoolers, I think it's a room full of world changers. Maybe we hear that and we get really pumped. It's exciting for us to think about being part of a movement that could change something as big as the whole world. Maybe if we're honest, we'd admit that it kind of feels like it's too big of a responsibility. The world is a huge place and we're just one person. What can we actually do to change a world this big? We don't even know where to start. And if we did, we're honestly a little too scared to even try. If that's how you feel, let me just tell you that I can totally relate with you. Because we think we don't know how to do it, or we don't feel like we know enough, or we're not sure where to start, or we think we've made too many mistakes to help somebody else, or we even think that we're the only ones who care, or we're afraid that we'll fail. But what if I told you that all this change, the world stuff, really is possible for you? In fact, it's something that can happen in big and small ways when we join movements that follow Jesus. Because changing the world is something that he did thousands of years ago, and it's something he gives us, his followers, a chance to do today. How do I know? Well, because of something Jesus did during some of his final moments here on earth. Today, we're gonna look at the challenge Jesus gave his disciples, the closest people to him while he was here on earth. Well, remember, like us, they were humans. And a part of being human is experiencing very real fear that you might not be able to do the big, crazy, almost impossible thing that you're asked to do. So I have to imagine that when Jesus asked his disciples to literally go out and change the world, they were a little nervous. Could they really do it? Well, first, let's take a look at what Jesus had to say. This sounds like a pretty big order, right? Basically, Jesus asked his followers to go out and do something huge, to spread the movement to others, to go literally everywhere and teach people about him. I don't know about you, but that sounds impossible to me. It feels like too big of a movement to jump into and actually make an impact with. I imagine the disciples might have felt the same way. At this time, they weren't even safe in their own country. Leaders in their nation were out to arrest and even kill them because they followed Jesus. So the idea of going to other unknown parts of the world and spreading the movement of Jesus, well, had to have seemed crazy. And it definitely would have been scary, especially with their lives on the line. But still, Jesus called them to do it. He gave them a big vision for the impact that they could have in bigger places. Did he know that sometimes they'd be scared? You betcha. Did Jesus know that it would be really difficult sometimes? Even more than they could ever imagine. But Jesus also knew that with him, the disciples could do it, because with him, nothing is impossible. And he's also telling us that as well sometimes. That means doing things that we're afraid of. In other words, Jesus is telling us, do something that you're scared to do. The amazing changes we want to see in this world, we can be a part of making them happen. But in order to do that, we can't let fear hold us back. Just think about the disciples. Were they scared? Absolutely. But we know they did it anyways. They took small steps that made big changes in the world. They kept the movement of Jesus growing and going so that we can still be a part of it today. How were they able to do it? Look back at the last thing that Jesus said. Jesus promised to be with the disciples always, not just sometimes, not just when it was easy, not just when they needed him, but always. And it's the same promise he makes to you and me. As followers of Jesus, his very spirit lives inside of us. He goes with us everywhere we go. He's closer than close. When we join the movement and step to do something that scares us, we can do it because we know that we aren't doing it alone. Just imagine what could happen if we decide to simply start. If we decide to just take the baton Jesus gave us and run with it. If we did the thing that we were scared to do, if we let our fears and anxieties stop us, the cool thing is that the movement is already happening. This isn't new. And if we do this, the possibilities and the impacts are endless. So do something that you're scared to do And here's how you can start. First, name what you're scared to do. I'm not talking about this year's best haunted house or the roller coaster at your local theme park. I'm talking about the thing that you might be afraid to do that has the potential to change the world around you for the better. Maybe for you, it looks like actually signing up to go on that next mission trip. Loving the person in your family who is hard to love. Donating your allowance to a cause that's important to you. Choosing to say something when someone's being hurt or bullied. Learning about an organization or a person already working to serve others in big ways. Serving in a ministry in our church here every single week. Whatever it is, name it. Then ask God for courage to do it. Ask God to help you do something that you don't think that you can do, that you don't think you can do for someone else. To make that impact you're not sure that you can make. To actually do the thing that you're scared to do. Pray that He'll give you the words and thoughts and actions and courage to make it happen. Ask God to help you take that first step to join the movement. Finally, make that step. Do the next thing that moves you in the right direction. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming when you look at the whole movement. So instead, think of just the next step. All these big movements were started with small steps, and yours can too. Take one tiny step by signing up to serve or texting that person who's hard to love. By asking to get together with adults to talk or to speak up during small group or researching that organization. Maybe it's as simple as telling someone like your landing leader. They're there to help you, support you, love you, cheer you on as you take steps to do something that you're scared to do. And remember, you're not doing this alone. God promised the disciples that He would be with them always, and He promises you the same thing. This very Spirit lives inside of you. He'll never leave you, and He'll always help you. If He calls you to do something that you're scared to do, He'll go with you when you do.